Imagine becoming a millionaire baseball player, and instead of buying a mansion, you choose to sleep in a van. No luxury house, no supercars, no private chef, just a small van, a mattress, and the open road. Most people would think he had lost everything. But he was not broke. He was not forced to live this way. He chose it.
I just lay down and wake up the next day, and I'm not really sure what the next day brings. Traveling in Shaggy, I can get that sense of solitude.
In a sports world obsessed with money, fame, and status, he did something almost impossible. He became rich, then lived like a homeless traveler. So why would a millionaire baseball player reject the dream life everyone else is chasing? That is the strange truth behind his story. To understand just how absurdly contradictory this decision was, we first have to look at how much money Daniel Norris actually had. The reality is, Daniel was already a breakout phenomenon in high school. During the 2011 draft, the Toronto Blue Jays signed him with a bonus worth more than $2 million, according to Business Insider. When an 18-year-old suddenly receives that kind of massive money, it usually sparks a very predictable chain reaction in American sports culture. Young athletes immediately buy mansions, diamond-covered watches, and expensive designer outfits. From the outside looking in, that money doesn't just become a tool for comfort and luxury. It becomes a ticket to upgrade their identity, a way to signal to the entire world that they've reached the peak of fame and success. But Daniel did the complete opposite. He handed all of that money over to financial advisors and made one strange request: send him exactly $800 a month for living expenses. He absolutely had the financial ability to live the most luxurious lifestyle imaginable. So, the fact that he intentionally limited his spending to less than minimum wage was a deliberate choice, a wall he built to protect himself from the storm of money. The question is, when you're already holding the key that unlocks every door to luxury, why would you choose to lock yourself outside instead? The answer is actually hidden inside the cramped little world he created for himself. Instead of buying a penthouse, Daniel bought a 1978 Volkswagen Westphalia, named it Shaggy, and turned it into his main home during the off-seasons. And when you look at Daniel's real day-to-day life inside that van, there's nothing glamorous about it. This wasn't some modern luxury RV with high-speed Wi-Fi and expensive mattresses. It was an old machine with no air conditioning, a homemade bed, and a tiny portable gas stove.
This is all my kitchen equipment. And then in here, it's kind of like pots and pans. Keep some soup in there, French press. Now we'll move on to the next room, and I've got my bed, along with my closet on the side right here. This is my surfboard. This is my baby.
Every day, he drove along empty coastlines, cooked incredibly simple meals for himself, carried his surfboard out into the ocean, and read books under dim lighting.
I don't think I'm recreating anything. I think I'm just creating a long story of my life, going on the road to nowhere fast, and I'm just enjoying the ride.
For most people, a road to nowhere sounds like failure. For Daniel, the road to nowhere fast meant freedom.
You can never be in a hurry driving one of these old Volkswagens. You're going nowhere fast, and all these people are flying by at 75, 80 miles an hour, when I'm just sitting there cruising at 55 in the right lane and not really worrying about what time I get there.
In baseball culture, where speed equals ambition, where hustle is treated like a virtue and slow feels almost sinful, this was practically a radical act. Not because he couldn't go faster, but because he had decided there was nothing ahead of him important enough to miss what was already around him right now. A lot of people look at this lifestyle and assume it's unnecessary self-punishment for a millionaire. But in one video documenting his real daily life, Daniel talks about the smallest, most ordinary details. And somehow, those tiny details reveal everything.
Bucks, but I usually try to, if I stop at a gas station, I'll put usually $5 to $7 in, because if I have a full tank, I'm always gonna go off on some kind of crazy adventure and never know where I'll end up, so I gotta keep myself inside of a little.
Even while earning millions of dollars, he still kept his gas tank nearly empty. Not because he lacked money, but because a full tank meant losing control. It meant driving too far, wandering too far away from the self-discipline he had built for himself. And before going to sleep each night, he wasn't scrolling through Netflix or ordering delivery food. He went to a Walmart parking lot and did pull-ups using the metal frame.
I'm gonna go do pull-ups at Walmart. Well, basically, this is where I do my pull-ups. Like, see if I can demonstrate a few before I get kicked out of here. There's sirens. I'm just kidding.
It almost seems like, for Daniel, this was the only way he could find absolute silence. The working environment of a professional baseball player is constantly filled with noise. Stadiums packed with tens of thousands of screaming fans, blinding camera flashes from the media, and the crushing pressure to perform every single day. Just like someone escaping to a quiet garden to get away from the chaos and rush of the city, the cramped interior of that van, together with the endless openness of the ocean, became his safe haven. It feels like Shaggy was never a symbol of poverty in Daniel's eyes. It was a fortress of freedom. But maybe the detail that reveals the most about Daniel's relationship with the van isn't how he lived inside it. It's the way he talked about it.
It really shows me that I can live a normal life without needing luxuries. I consider my life very luxurious, being able to live in that and travel around and, you know, sleep on the beach and wake up to the waves. Like, I mean, come on, it doesn't really get much better.
When you look at the van, what do you see?
I see my house, I guess. I see a part of me, I think, actually. There's times where I'll cut the radio off or cut the music off and just listen to how it's running. It's almost like we're talking. Yeah, sometimes she gets a little tired.
She. Not it. Not the van. She. That's not ownership. That's a relationship. When Daniel turns off the radio just to listen to the engine, he's not doing a mechanical inspection. He's checking in, the same way you look an old friend in the eyes and ask, "You doing okay today?" And when he says, "She gets a little tired," he's not complaining about an old broken-down vehicle. He's acknowledging that this companion has carried him through years of his life, and he's grateful for every single mile of it. After hearing all of this, a lot of people end up asking the same question. Why would someone who could live differently choose not to? Daniel answered that question in the simplest way possible.
You know, people ask me a lot of times, like, why I do this, and it wasn't really anything I thought about. It was just, once I got this, like, I knew this is what I'm just gonna.
You can tell he's someone who values original, unfiltered things, and he didn't want money to rewrite his personality. Choosing to live in the van was his way of taking control over his own life. Instead of letting fame and wealth shape the way he lived, he used a simple lifestyle to force himself not to forget who he really was.
They were asking me about the van, and I was like, I wonder if they think I'm weird. I wonder what they think about this. I wonder if they think, like, man, how does he do it? I'm saying to myself, like, how in the world could I not? I've really learned how to, I guess, flip the switch. You know, you come out to baseball and you kind of got to leave the laid-back personality and lifestyle in the van, and when you get between the lines.
Most of us bring work home with us. We carry stress, anxiety, unfinished conversations, and pressure straight into our sleep. The line between working and living becomes so blurry that eventually we can't even tell the difference anymore. But Daniel created a physical boundary so clear that his brain couldn't confuse the two worlds. The van was one world. The baseball field was another. Stepping out of the van meant stepping into battle. Stepping back into the van meant leaving the battle behind. At the same time, his choice to live in a van became even more strange, almost shocking, when placed inside the culture of American professional sports. Every season, when teams gather for training camp, stadium parking lots basically turn into luxury car exhibitions. Players arrive in customized Lamborghinis, matte black Range Rovers, chrome-covered supercars, all paired with sparkling diamond jewelry. And right in the middle of all that display and excess, Daniel would slowly pull in driving his rusty mustard yellow van.
You know, most guys are in hotels or houses, and, you know, he's just a simple guy, so he parks it at the beach or the old Walmart there and, you know, sleeps out.
That visual contrast wasn't just about having different tastes. In the sports world, where the car you drive and the things you wear are often treated like a scoreboard proving your status and success, Daniel's presence completely rejected the rules of that system. He never openly criticized or judged the way his teammates spent their money. His differentness happened quietly. But somehow, that silence created an incredibly loud echo. And maybe that's exactly why his story resonates so deeply with people. Without even trying to, Daniel proved something powerful. You can enter the world of luxury, earn millions of dollars, and still refuse to let yourself be absorbed by its consumer culture. But there's a paradox here that very few people notice. Daniel chose van life to escape the noise, the stadiums, the cameras, the expectations. Yet the story of the van itself pulled all that noise right back toward him. Articles and documentaries about his van lifestyle generated hundreds of millions of interactions online. He became the millionaire living in a van, a character, a brand, a symbol onto which people projected whatever they wanted to see. And that's exactly when the misunderstandings began. The media started spinning every possible narrative around him. Some articles romanticized him like some enlightened monk detached from materialism, while others viewed him as weird, cheap, or even someone intentionally acting eccentric for attention. A lot of fans worried that this wandering, minimalist lifestyle would damage his health and hurt his pitching career. Psychologically, it's easy for us to project our own fears and assumptions about money onto Daniel's story. In a society that constantly assumes more money equals more happiness, someone who has money but refuses luxury almost looks insane. But those interpretations completely miss the core truth. People misunderstood what he was actually trying to do. Daniel never rejected money itself. He still accepted his salary. He still kept millions of dollars safely invested. The only thing he rejected was allowing that money to define who he was and what his values should be.
This is what I live for. Like, this is the way I was raised up, and that's what I enjoy. Just because money's there doesn't mean that it's, you gotta have nicer things than you used to have, No amount of money could really buy this. I've been offered more than what I paid for it before, and it's easy for me to say no just because it's like, it's a part of me, just everywhere I've been in it and all that stuff. And it sounds weird, but it is.
The greatest luxury he owned wasn't hidden in the things he could buy. It was hidden in the things he had the freedom to ignore. And the story of Daniel Norris living like a homeless traveler didn't end after a short period inside the van. It continued even after his retirement. After retiring in 2023, he didn't disappear. He continued living as himself, becoming a handcrafted surfboard maker, taking custom board orders, surfing every day, and building a small family with professional surfer Sage Erickson. Even in his modern life after marriage, he still pursued freedom through spontaneous, epic West Coast adventures. The difference was that now he had a companion beside him, his wife, so he started using a more modern RV. He shared this on social media. "We took an RV for an epic West Coast adventure. Daniel Norris, 1'8", and I are super spontaneous when it comes to trips and swells. Having an RV makes it that much easier to hop in and go wherever the wind and waves call. It's that easy. We also love good coffee and yummy food, so pit stops are a necessity for us. Here's our Adventura in 90 seconds. That more modern RV wasn't a sign that he abandoned his old philosophy. It showed a more mature evolution of freedom. When he was single, his freedom carried a lonely, almost anti-materialistic spirit. But once he built a family, that freedom had to expand to include responsibility, comfort, and a shared life with someone else. So in reality, upgrading the van wasn't a betrayal of his philosophy at all. It was his way of adapting while still preserving the spirit of movement and freedom in a new chapter of life. And even his fans noticed that evolution, leaving comments like, "You upgraded your van? And what about Shaggy?" When Daniel bought the van in 2011, that old Volkswagen Westfalia became both his closest companion and the emotional center of his life for years afterward. In 2019, he even shared updated photos of Shaggy on social media.
No amount of money could really buy this. I've been offered more than what I paid for it before, and it's easy for me to say no just because it's like, it's a part of me.
Even after more than a decade in professional baseball, there was never a single moment when he willingly gave it up. A lot of us spend our entire lives working in the hope that one day we'll own the biggest house or the nicest car. But Daniel Norris realized very early on that giant mansions often come attached to invisible chains. Maintaining wealth, managing an image, and sustaining a luxury lifestyle all demand that you sacrifice part of your freedom in return. While some people use money to buy material things and layers of flashy identity, Daniel used his money to buy back the right to live honestly as himself. He bought the right to surf during quiet mornings, the right to shape a wooden surfboard with his own hands, the right to disappear from the noisy world whenever he wanted. At the beginning of this story, you look at the van and ask, why would he live like that? But by the end, the question completely changes direction. Why don't we? If tomorrow morning you woke up and found millions of dollars sitting in your bank account, would you use that money to buy a life designed to prove yourself to other people? Or would you use it to buy freedom and have the courage to live a life that truly belongs to you alone?